Exploring the impact and future of plastics. Today, we're diving further into a topic that's fundamental for both your health and your future, your finance and your place in the world. Part 13, more about plastic and plastic particles. We are unity of consciousness, where we help you to achieve personal and spiritual growth. Topic for today will be divided into: have the plastic production companies considered to ban plastic forever? And if the answer is yes, how long will it take to implement this target? Have the production of plastic industries found sustainable way to dispose plastic that they ever produced? We have so far explored discovery of plastics, introduction to consumption, how they are prepared, main industries that use plastics, type of plastics, plastics numbers, group and individual products that contain microplastics, the most toxic and pure plastic used, statistics of quantities of plastics consumed by humans and animals and textiles dumped into the landfills, how ecosystems, general and individual economy are affected. Our future discussions will further discuss if the plastic industries are taking it seriously to ban plastics, or is it just another ploy to produce plastic as it is cheap, and if we stop plastic production today, how long plastic is going to be cleaned and not a threat to life on Earth. This is a continuous part of the previous series that uses knowledge to inform you about the propagation of health, financials, and general welfare of our species. Why are we interested in your well-being in general and continue to treat serious issues that affect you in general? These issues affect your health, your well-being, and your growth as human. There is positive correlation of great health and well-being into greater physical and mental performance. There are many articles, including one from Corporate Health. If one suffers from ill health, the performance will be reduced. It will lead into you focusing all your energy to improve physical health. So, if you are unwell, you will possess less time to focus into more achievements in life, including personal and spiritual growth. We are living in exceptional times nowadays. There is large massive population that have been sleep-induced and have given away their power and their freedom of action. We should admit that this has happened in mutual agreement. We are intelligent beings, and as such we have knowingly and willingly given away our freedoms. Yes, we were deceived, however, we are intelligent beings and we have to use our brain to identify what is our well-being and who is assisting us to achieve better health and wealth. It is obvious that the difference between the wealthiest and the poorest has never been bigger. It is also very obvious that the middle class is reducing and thinning every day to the point of no return. The person that earned $100,000 4 years ago is roughly or more than 40% poorer due to price increase of all products and services for this consumer, interest rate increase, and illegal tax hikes. Now, many of us are now recognizing the gravity of the situation we jointly have created and are beginning to take action to address the serious trouble we're in. So, it is time for you, me, and all of us to act now. If you act 1 minute later, it just might be too late. Back to improving health and well-being. We often hear that organic or natural products, natural materials are expensive. However, the reality is that it can actually save you money in the long run while enhancing your overall well-being. We have discussed general tips how to save money in the first part. We have discussed the benefits of eating organic, non-GMO, pesticide and chemical-free foods. In other videos, we have discussed harmful chemicals into our cooking appliances and cosmetic product and their impact into our health and well-being. Our research has led us to explore plastics and their effects into ecosystems and individual lives of humans and animals. Now let us start part 13 with continued research in plastics. This topic is essential, given that plastic has permeated nearly every aspect of our lives. So, let's explore the plastic ban and whether there are sustainable disposal methods for the billions of tons of plastic already out there. The reality is that plastic production has exploded since its invention, with nearly 400 million metric tons of plastic produced globally each year. Becoming more aware of its environmental consequences, the question remains, are plastic producers genuinely considering putting an end to plastic production? Have plastic companies considered a ban? In recent years, the mounting pressure from governments, environmental activists, and the general public has forced some plastic manufacturers to rethink their business models. Large corporations like Dow Chemical, ExxonMobil, and BASF, which are among the world's largest plastic producers, have faced criticism over their contributions to pollution. However, it's easy to say that these companies are contemplating a complete ban on plastic. The focus has been more on sustainability, reducing plastic waste, and exploring alternatives rather than an outright cessation of production. Many of these companies are investing heavily in developing recyclable and biodegradable plastics. For instance, Coca-Cola and Nestle have pledged to use more recycled content in their packaging. Similarly, Dow Chemical has invested in technology to recycle difficult-to-process plastics. However, these efforts are premonitory pressures and consumer demand, rather than a genuine desire to eliminate plastic altogether. The reality is that many industries, like healthcare, automotive, and electronics, are still heavily dependent on plastics due to its cost-effectiveness and versatility. This makes the notion of a complete ban a distant goal for most manufacturers. Assuming that plastic manufacturers and governments were to agree on a global ban, the question then becomes, how long would it take to implement such a policy? Experts suggest that even if a worldwide consensus were reached, the phasing out of plastics would take decades, not years. The process would involve overhauling entire supply, developing scalable alternatives, and adjusting consumer behavior. For example, Europe has been leading the charge with its Single-Use Plastics Directive, which aims to phase out single-use plastics like straws, cutlery, and bags by 2030. However, this is a far cry from a complete ban on all plastic. Its challenge lies in replacing durable plastics used in infrastructure, automotive parts, and medical supplies, which currently have no cost-effective or scalable alternatives. It is estimated that the transition could take anywhere from 20 to 50 years to achieve on a global scale, depending on technological advancements and regulatory frameworks. Developing countries, which lack the infrastructure for large-scale R&D waste management, would face even greater hurdles in implementing such changes. Overcoming the plastic challenge, barriers and solutions. There are significant technological and financial barriers that plastic producers face in transitioning away from traditional petroleum-based plastics. One of the major challenges is the lack of commercially viable alternatives. While bio-based plastics, such as polylactic acid, PLA, and polyhydroxyalkanoates, PHA, are being researched and developed, they are not yet produced at a scale that can replace conventional plastics. Moreover, the cost of producing bio-based plastics is currently much higher than petroleum-based ones. For industries that rely on thin margins, this cost difference is a significant deterrent. Until we see breakthroughs that make alternative materials both affordable and scalable, plastic manufacturers are unlikely to completely shift away from plastic production. To move closer to the goal of eliminating plastics, both governments and corporations need to adopt a multifaceted approach. Legislative action, such as plastic taxes, extended producer responsibility, EPR, programs, and bans on certain types of plastics, will be essential in pushing manufacturers to adopt alternative materials. Consumers also play a crucial role. The increased demand for eco-friendly products is prompting companies to rethink their packaging strategies. Public awareness campaigns, coupled with incentives for using sustainable alternatives, can accelerate this shift. As we all know, the world has a massive plastic problem. Since the 1950s, global plastic production has skyrocketed to over 8.3 billion metric tons. What's even more concerning is that only about 9% of this plastic has been recycled, while the rest has ended up in landfills, oceans, or incineration plants. Despite decades of efforts to reduce plastic waste, it is estimated that 12 billion metric tons of plastic will accumulate in landfills and the environment by 2050 if no significant changes are made. The question we are addressing today is whether plastic industries have found a truly sustainable way to dispose of all this waste. While there have been numerous innovations and technological advancements, the reality is that we are still far from a comprehensive solution. One of the most touted solutions by plastic manufacturers has been recycling. However, the limitations of this method are becoming increasingly clear. Conventional recycling, or mechanical recycling, often degrades the quality of plastic, making it difficult to reuse for high-quality products. As a result, only about 2% of all plastic waste is effectively closed-loop recycled, meaning it is turned back into the same product. Chemical recycling, a newer approach, has been hailed as a potential game-changer because it can break down plastics into their molecular components. However, this technology is still in its infancy, with high costs and energy requirements that make it unsustainable on a large scale. For example, companies like BASF and Eastman Chemical are investing heavily in chemical recycling technologies, but the process remains expensive and contributes to greenhouse gas emissions, raising questions about its overall sustainability. For decades, the majority of plastic waste has ended up in landfills. While this method is straightforward, it is far from sustainable. Plastics can take hundreds to thousands of years to degrade, leaching harmful chemicals into the soil and groundwater. In countries like the United States, approximately 75% of plastic waste ends up in landfills each year. Australia, a country known for its environmental consciousness, has been trying to move away from landfill dependence. However, despite its ambitious waste management goals, over 30% of its plastic waste is still disposed of in landfills annually. Some plastic manufacturers argue that incineration is an effective way to reduce waste. Incineration involves burning plastic waste at high temperatures to generate energy. However, this method is far from sustainable. It releases a significant amount of carbon dioxide and other harmful pollutants into the atmosphere, contributing to climate change. Countries like Sweden and Japan have integrated incineration into their waste management systems, turning waste into energy. However, critics argue that this approach only perpetuates the production of single-use plastics rather than encouraging a move toward more sustainable alternatives. Given the challenges of recycling, landfills, and incineration, some companies are shifting their focus to biodegradable plastics. These plastics are designed to break down more quickly in the environment. But here's the catch: they often require specific conditions to decompose, such as high temperatures and controlled humidity, which are not commonly found in natural settings. Moreover, biodegradable plastics can still release microplastics into the environment during their degradation process, further contributing to pollution. While companies like Danimer Scientific and Novamont are investing in the development of bio-based alternatives, the scale of production is not yet sufficient to replace conventional plastics. In recent years, the concept of plastic credits has emerged as a way for companies to offset their plastic usage. Similar to carbon credits, plastic credits allow companies to fund plastic waste collection and recycling projects elsewhere in the world to balance out their own plastic footprint. The idea is gaining traction, with companies like Nestle and Unilever exploring this avenue. However, critics argue that plastic credits do little to address the root cause of the problem, which is the overproduction of plastics. Instead, it is seen as a way for companies to continue their plastic production under the guise of sustainability. Despite the numerous initiatives and technological advancements, the reality is that plastic industries have not yet found a truly sustainable way to dispose of the plastics they have ever produced. Most current methods, whether recycling, incineration, or biodegradable plastics, still have significant environmental trade-offs. The scale of the problem is so vast that even the most ambitious efforts by individual companies and governments are not enough. For instance, the Ellen MacArthur Foundation's vision of a circular economy for plastics aims to ensure that by 2040, all plastic packaging will be reusable, recyclable, or compostable. While this vision is commendable, the transition to a circular economy is a complex and lengthy process that requires unprecedented collaboration between governments, corporations, and consumers. So, where does this leave us? For now, plastic industries are caught between the demand for sustainable solutions and the reality of maintaining profitability. The pressure is on, but significant breakthroughs are still needed in material science, waste management technologies, and global policies to achieve a truly sustainable solution. Until then, it appears that the plastic industry will continue to rely on a combination of recycling, incineration, and landfills, supplemented by emerging technologies like chemical recycling and biodegradable plastics. However, none of these options currently offer a viable long-term solution for the billions of tons of plastic waste already in existence. Addressing the plastic waste crisis. The idea of banning plastics entirely may seem like an ideal solution. It is far from straightforward. The process involves overcoming significant technological, financial, and logistical challenges. Also, while there are many efforts underway to address the plastic waste crisis, we are still far from a sustainable solution. Plastic production companies are exploring various avenues, but a comprehensive strategy to dispose of all the plastic ever produced remains elusive. However, with continued pressure from consumers, policymakers, and environmental groups, we can hope for a future where plastics play a much smaller role in our lives. Today in Health Episode 13, we addressed if a ban on plastic is considered and how long will it take, and if the plastic industry has found a solution to sustainable plastic disposal. Previous episodes have commenced to discuss initial production of plastic, their infiltration and consumption, their classifications, measurable consumptions of plastics. We have discussed prior the benefits of eating organic, non-GMO, pesticide and chemical-free foods. In other videos we have discussed chemicals into our cooking appliances and cosmetic product and their impact into our health and well-being. The next episodes will go deeper to discuss the plastic industry solutions of sustainable disposal or a marketing ploy and how long will Earth be recovered from extensive use of plastics if we stop today using plastic. You will find links for the Today research and topic. If you found these tips helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more educational and inspirational content to help you achieve personal and spiritual growth. Achieving a better life, healthier and financially healthy, will allow you to achieve faster and more effective personal and spiritual growth. Thank you for investing your time with us. Take care, stay healthy, wealthy, and enlightened.